Test. Perfect.
Hi.
Hello. Okay. Well, this is a surprise one, so there's no questions or anything like that popped up. So, just going to go ahead and kind of preview the wrap up of the season. We're a few days away from the start of the playoffs, so we'll kind of go into some of the statistical leaders, potential playoff matchups, things of that nature. Just thinking of where to start. Well, we'll look at the remaining games quick. So, remaining games, Seahawks versus Cardinals. Seahawks, when they clinch the 2, I think they already have the 2 seed locked up. I think they might have like a conference tiebreaker over the Falcons for the 2 and 3 seed. But in general, they should beat the Cardinals. They're a 3-win team. Rams versus Niners. Niners have been super competitive the last few weeks, kept it really close, but still only a 3 or 4 win team. Rams with a win would clinch the the 6th seed because the Vikings beat them. So the Vikings would have tiebreaker for the 5th seed. Let me pull up my thing quick here on Daddy Leagues. Yeah, so if they win, they clinch either the 6th. They're in the playoffs no matter what. Winning would guarantee the 6th seed as long as the Vikings win. A win and a Vikings loss would have them move up to the 5th seed. So, yeah. Bengals Browns. If the Bengals win, they clinch a playoff. We'll do the NFC. Saints versus Falcons. Falcons win. They're already well. Actually, if they lose and the Cowboys win, the Cowboys can jump them. So Atlanta needs to beat the Saints in order to stay the 3 at worst. Panthers Bucks. These two are fighting for that 7th seed. If the Bucks win, they clinch the 7th seed. Now, if Minnesota, Los Angeles, and Philly all wins, there can be some trickery there on who gets 5, 6, 7 and which one's left out. But a win all but punches their ticket in. Bears versus Vikings. Bears got the number 1 seed. They don't really have a reason to play and go hard for a win, but it could potentially move the Vikings down a few tiers in the wild card rankings, the 5th, 6th, 7th seed. This game doesn't matter. If the Cowboys win and the Falcons lose, they'll jump up to the 3 seed. If the Cowboys lose, nothing happens. They're guaranteed the 4th seed at this point, no matter what. If the Eagles lose, they are eliminated from the playoffs. If the Eagles win, they have a puncher's chance to sneak in. Tampa has a tiebreaker over them, so they need a win plus a Tampa Bay loss. I don't know how it works. Like if they win and then Minnesota and LA loses, that's weird. I'd have to look at their schedule more and break it down. Might do it tomorrow, but now we'll go through the AFC for the remaining games. Titans, Texans, they're in the middle of playing now. Titans are winning. When I last checked, it was like 31-16, something like that. So that would guarantee that the Titans would be the 4th seed and the Texans would stay the 5th seed. Now, they're going to play again the very next week, from what I can tell. I don't know, did one of them play the Raiders? I know Rob talked about someone potentially moving up. Oh, no, never mind. I lied. So if the Titans win, they would go to the 3 seed and play the Jaguars currently seeded in, but that could change. We'll get to that later. If the Texans win, they'd move to this. Okay, so they're playing for the 3 seed. Winner gets the 3, loser gets the 5. So loser gets the 5 and plays Cody and the Raiders. Winner gets the 3 and then we'll play whoever the 6th seed is, which could be Shokan and the Jags or Rob and the Bengals. Next game, AFC-wise, that matters. Jaguars-Colts. A win guarantees the Jaguars are the 6th seed. A loss can put them in a little tricky scenario with the Bengals, Chargers, Jags, and Ravens all being 10-7. That's pretty much it. The Bills are the 1 seed no matter what. Steelers are the 2 seed no matter what. Raiders are the 4 seed no matter what. So, got that there. So that's how the playoffs are going to look. Now, potential matchups. Now, this is always a week old, a week behind. Madden takes a week to update their stuff. But as it sits now, you'd see Bears and Bills would have the bye. You'd have a rematch of the Steelers versus the Bengals as of now. Now, if they win and the Jags lose, they would jump the Jags to the 6th seed. So that's kind of what they're hoping for right now. But you'd have Rob versus Snake. They split the series. Now, if you ask Rob, he had some, Madden bullshit happen that really didn't count. So technically, Rob swept Snake. So Steelers are 0-2 versus Rob this year. You'll most likely see, now this is where it's going to flip. So the Raiders are going to drop down to the 4 and most likely play Jared. So that's what it looks like there. You're going to have Raiders versus Texans in the 4-5 matchup. Then in the 3-6 matchup, you're going to have the Titans against either the Bengals, the Jaguars. I think those are the only 2 possibilities it could be. So that's what you're going to get. And then, obviously, lowest seed plays Buffalo the next 2 rounds. So then they would face, if the Bengals win, they'll face, or whoever, if the 7th seed wins, they'll face them. Otherwise, they'll face, if the 6th seed wins, they could potentially face them. And then whoever, in the 4-5, if 2 and 3 both win. 2 and 3 will play each other. If they win, they cannot face the 1 seed in the first round. Over on the NFC side, right now you're going to see Nick taking on the Bucks, and that's most likely what's going to hold. Now, the Bucks beat the Panthers 2 advances ago, so they played each other 2 out of 3 weeks. Now, they have the exact same divisional record, so whoever wins is going to hold tiebreaker over the other. So at the 4-5, you're most likely going to see the Vikings and Cowboys. Could see the Rams and Cowboys, depending on what happens. Basically, these are the matchups I'm thinking will happen, minus the 7th seed. That could change. That could be Carolina, that could be Philly, or that could be Tampa. I would be shocked if the other ones change. You might see like Vikings-Rams flip, depending on what happens, but I'm pretty confident in saying these will be the matchups side for the 7. And again, lowest seed will face the Bears. 2 remaining highest seeds will play each other, and then we'll move on to the divisional, conference, Super Bowl. So that's kind of the outlook for the playoffs. I'll do a prediction show when the playoffs get here, hopefully before we actually advance there and we know who's playing who. So I can kind of go through, and then we'll compare my season predictions too. So that is that. In terms of stats and statistical leaders, we'll kind of talk about them. Now, when you go through the main stat portal deal, whatever you want to call it, menu, it won't show everyone, especially defense. There's some errors. Like if I go to sacks, it's not going to show Ed Oliver being up there as one of the league leaders. Yeah, nowhere near there, but if you go to my team, he has 14 sacks, so he's like 2nd or 3rd in the league in sacks, and he's not even showing on there. So it's weird. So we can't. No, will he show on the AFC side? Yeah. So he shows on the AFC, but not the NFL. Really weird. But we'll kind of just keep that in mind with a grain of salt defensively. So passing, Josh Allen completely lapped the field. He is over 1,500 yards away from the next closest dude, and they've both already played. Mitch has played, but Mahomes has played, Lawrence is playing, so you'll see Prescott will probably get 300 to 400 and get a little bit closer and enter into the 500s, so could Russ. But for the most part, Allen's going to be over 1,000 yards away from the closest player. In terms of pure passing attempts, I'd assume he's number one. Well, Mac Jones, but Patriots were CPU for quite a bit. Eagles had a few force games. Saints had a few sims. But overall, Josh Allen leading the way in terms of attempts. Touchdown passes, again, is going to be Josh Allen. Mitch isn't that far behind, significantly less interceptions. He's got like 15 less interceptions. Watson's playing right now. You could see his touchdowns go up a little bit. Same with picks. Bengals, Burrow's up there for touchdowns. Fields having a phenomenal year, 36 and 11. In terms of interceptions, we got Kyler Murray has 54. If someone's in here with the Frogers interception counter, you can go ahead and post what this is at, because I know you guys were tracking his 2-point conversion ones too. I know he had at least one, so he's at 54 as well if you add that up. But you got 3 dudes over 50, and they're 3 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Baker's also a pretty good player in Madden. So then you got Mac, Zach Wilson, and Burrow was suspended 2 games, and he's still over 40 and up there. So we got quite a bit of dudes over 40 picks. So, and then you go into the yardage. Decent amount of people over 4,000. Obviously, you add an extra game. Most quarterbacks are going to hit at least 4,000. NFL record was like 5,400, and Josh Allen annihilated that record. In terms of, we don't care about anything else. Rushing, Derrick Henry just demolished everyone. He's almost 100 carries ahead of the very next closest player. So, go figure, he's going to be up there, and he's about 1,000 yards clear of the next rusher almost. He had 900. 27. Now, touchdowns isn't number one. Travis Etienne has that on 140-some carries less. So, definitely up there. You look at Zeke's also 23 touchdowns. Eckler with almost 20. Carson and Balaj at 17. Then you got a few dudes with 15, 14, and so on. In terms of fumbles, they're all quarterbacks, so we'll just move on to receiving. Reception-wise, top 2 players, Dawson Knox, Rashad Bateman for the Bills. Austin Eckler's number 3, and they're both significant. They're 12 ahead of the very next closest dude. Kyle Pitts up there, Devontae Smith, Dalton Schultz, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase. So got a decent amount of dudes over 70, and most of these, as you can see, are more slot guys, shorter guys, 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, 6 foot, and then tight ends. So you got mainly your slots, running backs, and tight ends, because that's this garbage-ass game. Receiving, Dawson Knox murdered every single... Well, he didn't murder the touchdown record, but yards record he set, and only playing 13 games. Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, all had phenomenal years for tight ends. That tight end receiving record was just smashed by like 4 guys. All of them had over 10 touchdowns too. Top receiver so far in the year's Bateman, but Anthony Miller just had a game going, so his stats will probably go up. Metcalf's up there. He's got one more. Diggs. So if you look at receivers, the top 4 receivers are Bateman, Miller, Metcalf, Diggs. So for all of you who say that I don't use Stephon Diggs, he's the 4th leading receiver, so y'all can fuck it. Touchdowns, Knox and Waller both got over 20. Miller's there with 16. Then you got a bunch of tight ends still, because they're just the people who get the targets in the red zone. In terms of rack, Knox, Eckler, Bateman, Mixon. This is where you'll see the running backs, because they'll get a lot of those out of the backfield. They're the ones who are really going to be leading up there. Now, defensively, like I said, we got to take these kind of salt grain wise. But Nick Bosa is leading. That's for sure. We can confirm that. Tackle for loss. Yep, is Nick Bosa as well with 26. Interception leaders. Okay, Josh Jackson, Buda Baker, both with 13. A bunch of dudes with 12. Trayvon Mullen, Jeremy Chin, Eddie Jackson, Marlon Humphrey. Probably one or two more that might be hidden in the AFC. Defensive touchdowns, you've got a decent amount of dudes up there. Rudy Ford with 5. Dante Jackson with 4. Bunch of other dudes with 3. Now, again, he's not showing, but I know this because I looked the other time. CJ Henderson has 4. And then we don't care about kicking or punting at all. So, got good amount of records that were set. If you go to the records tab and go by season, you know, pass yards almost 1,000 ahead of Manning. Touchdowns, that wasn't broken, but that got close. Rush yards, that was broken by over 300, and however many more yards he got this game. Rushing touchdowns, that was broke by Travis Etienne. Derrick Henry, I assume, broke that game. Receiving yards, Knox broke it. Receiving touchdowns, Knox broke it. Waller was up there with 20. Catches, no one will get close to that one. Sacks, so we had, obviously someone with 17.5, so up there. And interceptions, a lot of people got up there in this season. Josh Jackson, Buda Baker, got a bunch of other dudes here with 12. So that could potentially go up depending on Bears and Cardinals. Those guys could potentially take it from Night Train Lane. In terms of game records, very first game of the cycle, Sam Darnold broke the passing yard record. I don't know if anyone else had that many yards in a game. Yeah, no one else had that many. Pass touchdowns, I think we had somebody with 6, so that's not going to be up there. Rush yards, Derrick Henry had 260. Rush touchdowns, no one was up there. Receiving yards, we had a few guys up here close to it this year. No one in the 280s, but we had a bunch of 220, 240, 250. Had a couple 260s as well, I believe. Receiving touchdowns, no. Catches, no. Defensive sacks, we had a couple 4-sack games. Interceptions, probably had maybe a 4-interception game, but nothing there. So, those are kind of the records that were set. Now, Madden award leaders. Now, we vote on our own, and those get posted to be voted on once we advance to the playoffs. That way I can have all the stats updated accurately. In-game, you got Derrick Henry, who's going to run away with it, most likely. Coach of the Year is Big Chungus. Amazing. Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Henry, Marlon Humphrey, defense, Najee Harris, rookie, Caleb Farley, defense, Mitch Trubisky, got Derrick Henry, Anthony Miller, Rashad Bateman, O-line of the year, best D-line, linebacker, DB, and then kicker. Go on the NFC side, Travis Etienne, Harrison Smith, Travis Etienne for Rookie of the Year as well. Calvin Joseph and Micah Parsons for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Justin Fields for Best Quarterback. Etienne for Running Back. He's going to run away with all the NFC awards. My God. Bucks all got... Because they just take overall into account for this shit. And they're all guys 9+. D-line's going to be Bosa, obviously. Best... This is so dumb. See, this is why I get so angry with Madden. Nick Bosa and Chandler Jones play the exact same position. So does Shaq Barrett. They all play the same position, yet they're going to win 2 different awards because they can't figure out how to get edge versus outside linebacker corrected for this stuff. So I'm just trying to look there. I don't know if there's anything else that we can really go over with this one. Um, going to be rolling out. I have a few videos on backlog here to eventually work out and release the kind of like clinics going over some stuff as we kind of have a good feeling of what's going on with the game and the state of the game. So those will roll out. Going to do kind of like a defensive versions of them to kind of show like what coverage, like that document we had where it explains coverages. Going to do a video in that form going through all the coverages, talking about them. Then we'll have one offensively showing kind of core concepts, how to call plays. And we just had a game finish, so we'll check that. Those will be kind of releasing out throughout the course of the next 2 weeks. Let's see who won. Holy Watson, 5 interceptions. Well, GG. But yeah, so we'll kind of release those, and then we'll go over how to call plays, what to call on defense, when to call things, kind of what to look for, how to stop the run. We'll do another one in terms of situational play calling. Want to get to potentially ones and break them down on like describing schemes in game and certain playbooks, but I don't know if I'll do that. That's a lot of work. But we will get through all of those, and those should be hopefully released before season 2 starts, if not right after. Fiance and I are going down to Florida mid-December, so that will kind of put a hold on a few things and just bought a house, so we'll be doing that in January. So want to get all of that before we move into that and just get it out of the way. So we will end it there, and then we will have one. I'll make sure the next one's scheduled and not random. That way we can do a playoff prediction and preview show. We advanced there, I think, Tuesday. So might do that either Monday night or maybe do it sometime Wednesday and hope that no playoff game starts by then. So other than that, yeah,